Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about 5 essential PowerShell networking commands that every tech pro should know. So even if you're not a tech pro or you just want to do your own networking at home or you're starting to get into the IT field, we're going to be going over some commands that you should probably be familiar with. All right, so we just recently did a video on 5 essential networking commands you should know using the regular command line, but in this video we're going to be talking about PowerShell, which of course is a little more advanced and a little more powerful than the standard command line. All right, so for this video we're going to be giving a general overview, showing you the commands with some of their switches and options, and then showing you some examples at the same time. So it's just going to be a general overview of these commands. And of course, like with everything else, there are many more commands you could use for networking, but these are some of the more popular ones. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to be using these PowerShell commandlets, as they're called, not just commands, commandlets, to troubleshoot network connectivity, test DNS resolution, trace packet routes, and inspect active TCP/IP connections. So one thing to keep in mind when it comes to PowerShell is that these commands can vary between PowerShell 5.1, 6, and 7. So many people are still on 5.1, and it is easy to update to version 7. So I'll put a link in the description for another video that we have that shows you how to check your version and how to update it as needed. And then once you do update it, you can still use the older version if you want to do so. 6 didn't seem to be too popular. It kind of goes from 5.1 is still kind of the standard, and then 7 and version 6 you don't see too often. All right, so the commands we're going to be covering is Get-NetIPConfiguration. So this is for local network interface auditing. Test-NetConnection for TCP port and route testing. Test-Connection without the net for structured ping and ICMP diagnostics. Resolve-DnsName for DNS record inspection and resolution. And Get-NetTCPConnection, which will show active sockets and port auditing. You can see these names are kind of similar to some degree, so it might be easy to get them confused with each other. All right, so the workflow step when it comes to troubleshooting. So first we'll verify the local IP setup with the Get-NetIP configuration, such as check the adapter states and the addresses. Then test the port and service reachability using Test-NetConnection to verify TCP port connectivity. And then measure latency and packet loss using Test-Connection. So send structured ICMP pings to verify connection stability. And then validate domain resolution using Resolve-DnsName. So query DNS servers directly to test host name resolution. And then finally, audit active ports and sockets using Get-NetTCPConnection to inspect open listening ports, establish network connections, and owning process IDs or PIDs. All right, so first we're going to talk about Get-NetIP configuration. So this is the modern IP config. So this will give you similar information as you will see with ipconfig. All right, so its purpose is to display active network interfaces, IP addresses, gateways, and so on. All right, then we have some parameters you could use with the command here. So interface alias, for example, will limit the output to a specific adapter, such as Ethernet or Wi-Fi. So if you don't want to see other adapters, you're just concerned about one, you could use this interface alias parameter with it. Then we have detailed, so if you want to see additional information, kind of like the ipconfig all. And then we have all, which includes disconnected or hidden network adapters. All right, so why would you use this over ipconfig? So this automatically groups default gateways and DNS servers with their matching network interface, a little cleaner and easier to read. All right, so we have some sample commands, which we'll look at in a second here. So for a basic local configuration check, just the basic Get-NetIP configuration. And if you want to see a detailed view for a specific adapter, you could use it with the dash network alias and then Wi-Fi, and then dash detailed, or you could use it with dash interface alias Ethernet and detailed, depending on what you want to see. All right, and then just like with the IP config, if you get a 169.254 address, that's an APIPA address. That's telling you that your computer is not able to reach a DHCP server to get an IP address. So if you're at home, that could be your router. And if you're at the office, that could be your DHCP server, which could be an actual physical, Windows or Linux server, or some other type of network device that is giving out your addresses. All right, so here are some examples. We have the standalone Get-NetIP configuration command by itself. You can see it shows us the basics here, the IP address, the gateway, DNS server, Then it also shows us our Bluetooth connection as well, and it shows that it's disconnected. All right, so then on this side here, we have the same command showing us just Ethernet and detailed. So this will just show the Ethernet adapter, not the Bluetooth, and it'll give us more detailed information, as you can see here. So we have the computer name, the MAC address, its status, nothing happening with IPv6, and then it also shows us our DHCP status is enabled. So you can see it gives us a little more information, and it's just focusing on the Ethernet adapter. So if you have multiple adapters, if you run it without this, it could get kind of crowded on the screen, especially if you're doing detailed. All right, then we have Test-NetConnection. So this is the network Swiss Army knife because you can do a lot with it. So this combines ping, traceroute, and TCP port testing into a single command. All right, so here are the parameters that you use with it. So computer name, so the destination IP address or domain name. You could also use host name as well. The port, test connectivities to a specific port. Here are some common ports here, such as for websites or remote desktop. All right, then we have common TCP ports. So this is used for built-in shortcuts for standard ports. And then trace route if you want to perform a hop-by-hop route analysis to the target, kind of like the standalone trace route command you could use from the command line. All right, so why would you use this? This eliminates the need to install Telnet or third-party tools to check open firewall ports. All right, so here are some sample commands. So if you want to test if a web server is accepting traffic on port 443 for HTTPS, Test-NetConnection, computer name with this website here, port 443. So you can see here we're using a URL for our computer name. And then if you want to test RDP accessibility, same thing with an IP address, and then common TCP port RDP. So you can see here that's from this list here. And then if you want to trace the network path to a target address, the same command with the computer name using the DNS server for Google here, and then trace route. All right, so a troubleshooting tip here. So the output property will be either true or false. So this makes it easy to write automated scripts that verifies if a remote service or firewall rule is open. All right, so let's take a look at some examples here. All right, so the first one, we have the Test-NetConnection with the computer name of OnlineComputerTips.com, the domain, for port 443 to see if we have web traffic going here. And we have our TCP test succeeded status as true, showing us that this website's up with web traffic going to port 443. All right, then we have another one here, Test-NetConnection with the computer name of a local computer here, Win11 Pro, common TCP port RDP for remote desktop. So you can see here, it shows the computer name, part of the remote address, the port, which is 3389 for remote desktop, the interface, source address, and this is up and running too. So remote desktop is enabled on this computer. All right, so now let's talk about Test-Connection. So this is a structured ping diagnostics tool. So its purpose is to send ICMP echo requests to target host to test reachability, latency, and packet loss. Kind of like your typical ping command, but a little more to it. All right, so we have some parameters that could be used here. Of course, there are more parameters than what I'm showing here. These are just the key parameters. So you have your target name. So you could have single or multiple destination host names or IP addresses. So you could ping more than one device at a time. You could change the count. So you could have an exact number of echo requests to send. And then you could use the quiet parameter here if you just want a clean true or false response without seeing all the actual individual responses. And then you could even set the delay time here if needed. All right, so why would you use this over ping? So the output consists of structured objects that could be sorted by response time or logged into files. All right, so here are some sample commands we could use. So if you want to ping multiple targets simultaneously, Test-Connection, the target name. So we're testing 2 external DNS servers with google.com. So here's a quick pass or fail check for script automation using the quiet parameter here. So Test-Connection with the target name. We're using an IP address in this example, -quiet. So we'll just get a clean true or false for that one. And then if you want to send 10 packets spaced 2 seconds apart, for example, use the target name, IP address in this case, and then the count 10 with a delay of 2. All right, troubleshooting tip for Test-Connection. So unlike a legacy ping, you could pipe the output directly to select object or export CSV to record continuous ping testing and compile packet loss logs during intermittent connection drops. So if you want to do any type of logging, you could easily do so. All right, so here are our samples here. So we're doing test connection with a target name with 2 DNS servers here, Google and I believe Cloudflare and Google.com. All right, so you can see our destination is 8.8.8.8, which shows up here. Then for the next one, it's 1.1.1.1, shows up here. And then for the last one, the target is google.com, which is their public IP address right here. Then you can see on this side here, we have the latency, buffer size, and the status. So these were all successful with a similar latency for each one. All right, then on this side, we have test connection with the target name for local IP address with a count of 10 and delay of 2. So our source and destination. And then we have our similar output here for the latency, buffer size, and status. All right, and then we have the Resolve-DnsName command. So it's a modern DNS lookup. So the purpose here is to query DNS servers directly for domain resolution records and IP mappings. So this replaces NSLookup, not really replaces it, but you could use it instead of NSLookup. All right, so we have our key parameters here. Once again, not the only parameters. So name, so we could have a domain name or IP address for reverse DNS lookups to query. The type, so if you want to filter by certain types, such as mail records or name server records. And then we have the server parameter, so this forces the query to run against a specific DNS resolver. And then we have no host file, so what this will do is bypass the local Windows host file to ensure an accurate query in case you have some outdated information in your host file. All right, so why would you want to use this? So this displays record time to live values and cleanly formatted record data. All right, then we have our sample commands. So a standard IPv4 lookup. So resolve DNSName, resolving wikipedia.org. Then if you want to check the mail server records using Google's DNS server, so resolve DNSName for google.com, the type is MX for mail, and the server is 8.8.8.8, which is Google's DNS server. And then we have a reverse lookup of an IP address to find the host name. So resolve DNSName-name with the IP address, and that'll give you the host name. All right, then a troubleshooting tip. So checking the time to live column shows how many seconds remain before the local DNS record expires. And this helps verify whether recent DNS changes have propagated to your local network. All right, so here are our samples. So basic one here, resolve DNSName for wikipedia.org. So you can see the record types here, time to live, answer, and their IP addresses. So we have a v6 and a v4 right here, gives us both. All right, for this one here, we're going to resolve a DNS name for google.com. We want to see their mail record using their DNS server. So the type is for MX for mail, time to live, answer, and the name exchange is smtp.google.com for their mail server. All right, then finally, we're going to do a reverse lookup here for this IP address to get the server name using the name parameter. So here you can see the IP address is reversed, and that's common when you're doing the reverse lookup. So it's backwards here in the result. Type is a pointer record, and the host is this one here, just a server name, just kind of a strange server name, I suppose. So that's how that works. All right, and then we have Get-NetTCPConnection. So this is used for active socket and port auditing. So it audits active TCP connections, listening ports, local and remote IP addresses, and owning processes ID or PIDs. So this can be used instead of netstat. Right, so here are parameters that we're going to use. So state, so this will filter connections by the state, listening, enabled, or time wait. And then the local port. So this will display connections bound to a specific local port. And then we have remote port, the same thing. And then we have the owning process. So this is used to filter for sockets held by a specific process ID. All right, so here are our samples. To list all active TCP connections, just use the command by itself. And if you want to list all active listening ports, same command with the state of listen. And of course, you could use established and time wait as well. And then if you want to find out what application is using a specific port here, let's say 443, for example. So the same command with local port 443. And then here's an example of a long command or complex command you could use to match active connections directly to the application process name. So I'm not going to read through that, but you can see there is quite a bit to it. All right, so here's a troubleshooting tip. So instead of looking up the process IDs manually in Task Manager, which is what you would do for netstat, you could pipe the command, which is another way of saying output it, into get process to print the exact executable name responsible for any network connection. All right, so here is the command just ran by itself here. So you can see it looks similar to netstat with our local address, local ports, remote address, remote port, the state, applied settings, and the owning processes. So just like with netstat, it gives you, pages of information sometimes depending on your configuration. All right, so here is an example of an error. So in this one here, we're using it to check on local port 443 to see the status of a web server, but this computer doesn't have a web server. So you would see this error here. The error is not going to be exactly the same every time. So nothing found with local port equal to 443. And then here's an example of one working for RDP remote desktop, port 3389. So here's the port, remote address, and it's listening. So it's ready to go for remote desktop. Okay, so that is your overview of 5 essential PowerShell networking commands that you should know. And of course, like I said before, there are many more that you might want to know as well, depending on your goals. All right, so hopefully this made sense, and hopefully it's a way for you to get started learning these commands. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.